And my name is Colette Emery, and I want to welcome you to our virtual meeting on the Collaborative Learning Lab. I'm an instructional designer, and I'm representing Ford and Excel Training and Design. And this is just some background information on our firm, as well as our professional focus. We are a firm based in Maryville, Indiana, and we have clients from Northwest Indiana and the Chicagoland areas. And we provide trainings and specified consultings for educators, leaders, entrepreneurs. We also engage in professional writing services as well. In terms of our mission, we want to make sure that all of our trainings are practical and that they're applicable and that they yield measurable progress. So there is no need to train if our goals aren't concrete and clear. And we want to make sure that our learners can successfully demonstrate mastery, which will lead to greater collaboration, productivity, and communication. And this is applicable in fields of education, business, science, technology. There is no area that does not need training. So this list charts the focus of our meeting today, and after consulting with your team of educators, administrators, and the information technology staff, I prepared a proposal. And this also includes a clear description of the Collaborative Learning Lab. Also, I want to talk to you about whom the lab is designed for, its features and benefits. And finally, I want to discuss the equipment, tools, and accommodations that'll make the lab's function a success. So in terms of the audience, I want to focus mainly on educators. And this current training that we're going to do is for high school and college educators. And what we have found through our interviews and case studies is that you have a diverse background of educators in terms of their use of technology and age and social economic status, even in race. And so this is a even more in detailed view of the learner's characteristics. So the training is going to take place in an academic site in an urban area. And our trainers range from African American to those of European descent. They are male and female. Age range, I mean, it's quite diverse, spanning from 24 to 75 and up. Most importantly, I want to focus on the learning style. So when we put these educators together, we're going to be working with educators who learn best through tactical, verbal, audio, visual, and social means. So here is a summary of what the learners should master after the training. So point one talks about employing adaptive teaching strategies with including technical tools. So again, on the college end and also the high school end, educators are using some type of technical program. For example, a lot of high schools use Edmoodle. It's a online program for grading, for posting assignments, for student collaboration. On the college end, quite a few students use Blackboard for the same purposes. And so we want to make sure that our instructors, our teachers are able to successfully create assignments, online assignments, grade, as well as manage online communications. Also, we want to make sure that our educators, our learners are proficient in record keeping. So whether that has to do with grading or tracking of assessments or other administrative reports, that's going to require training with software. And we're going to provide time for that with the training that we're proposing here. And finally, in both spectrums with our high school and college educators, we want to make sure that we are training the educators in a way so that they can convey material that aligns with the academic curriculum. And we also want to make sure that it aligns with the educational state objectives. And this chart just explains in detail the types of skills that the learners will cover. For example, all of the trainings for Ford and Excel Training and Design will be held in a computer lab. And the trainings are formatted to make sure that there is time for actual instruction and time for skill mastery. Remember that in the previous slides we discussed how some of the educators don't have access to computers outside of their work environment. So we are going to allow time for homework, if you will, for them to complete their assignments for mastery here in the lab. And so most importantly, for the high school educators and college educators, we want to ensure that all strategies that we teach, they will successfully convey to their students. So here is the rationale. So what are you looking for Ford and Excel Training and Design to do? Our goal is to enable preparedness strategies for instructors. We want our instructors to be prepared to teach with technology and perhaps without it. We want to help foster collaboration and networking opportunities for peer support. So college is the gateway to education. College is the gateway to the career path, but high school is the gateway into college. And so it's important that both educators from these arenas collaborate to see what is relevant, what are the new trends, what's being taught. We also want to provide access to resources and teaching materials for professional development. So at the conclusion of the training, your educators are going to have a wide variety of tools, basically a treasure box of hard copy material, online material, websites, access to devices to make them more proficient in the classroom. And our final reasoning is that we want to train instructors to master and properly execute instructional and administrative procedures. So again, it's not just the grading and the report writing, it's also the administrative activities, the assessments that the teacher should be able to complete as well with technology. And this is just more rationale. So what we're finding is that specifically in the college arena, we have instructors who don't have proficient teaching skill for college settings. So for example, if you have an elementary educator coming to the college setting, that's a different learning environment. And so we want the other purpose of this training is to make sure that all educators are trained properly on best practices in terms of setting deadlines and creating assignments and using technology. Another area that we have seen is that some instructors are coming from specific industries regarding engineering or healthcare or technology, and they know the content of their field, but they don't know how to teach it, how to convey it to students. And that's another reason for the training that we're offering here. And most importantly, so when that teaching is effective, when students are receiving skill mastery, that's going to lead to retention and graduation from both ends, from the college end and also the college end. So the customized training that we're providing with Ford and Excel Training and Design is ultimately supporting the graduation initiative of local area high schools and universities, as well as colleges. So this is a summary of the format of training. So the training, again, will take place in a computer lab with already purchased hardware and software. And also we're looking at the summer sessions. It's less busy, less concentrated during the summer sessions of June through August. And the vision that we see are 4-week summer training sessions that are held twice weekly for 3 hours. And again, that will include the instruction as well as the time for application and mastery. So when instructing or training a group of people, the trainers must be mindful of various learning preferences and disabilities. So we should never assume that all learners are the same. And again, the focus of our training is not just teaching strategies, but also using technology. And so I'm going to present a chart that summarizes 4 areas and where the learners, our educators, may be challenged. And this is called an adaptation chart. And so this is just a summary explaining the need for an adaptation chart. Basically, the training will take place in a lab, and so that lab has to be compliant with the guidelines of the Americans with Disabilities Act. So this chart outlines mastery skills for learners with motor challenges. So in terms of mobility, this may be for a learner who is wheelchair bound or a learner who may have limited or impaired use with a keyboard or mouse. So here in this chart, we see a description of adaptivity as well as how training could go forth successfully, and even an evaluation method to make sure that the training is functional for that learner. And so this chart outlines mastery skills for learners with hearing challenges. So we want to make sure that our learners can hear instruction clearly so that they're able to participate and engage in activities and discussions. It's very frustrating when hearing is an issue, and so we've got another description of training, evaluation methods, and adaptation skills that we can use to help learners who may be hearing impaired. So this section of the adaptation chart deals with learners who may have cognitive challenges. And so that can range from a person not being able to process information clearly by way of learning disability, or someone who may have issues with memory loss or comprehension, or even issues with problem solving. We have devised a adaptation description as well as training and evaluation method to make sure that our learners are successful. And so the final part of the adaptation chart deals with visual impairment. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time here because it is just key that learners are able to clearly read content on computer screens as well as documents and visual aids that are printed. And so I'm going to feature in a couple of seconds some visual assistive technology tools that will help learners to be successful in our training sessions. This page provides further explication on those who may have visual impairment, and it talks about the description of disability regarding low visual impairment to high visual impairment, and it also discusses some of the challenges that learners face in educational and working environments. And so in order for our learners to be successful, we've included a list of assistive technology tools specifically for visual impairment. And I've just got about 5 tools here that also include the description, pricing, and recommended quantity. The first one is the JAWS screen reading program, and basically this is a software program that reads content on the computer screen, and so it acts as an interpretation device, basically converting text to speech. The second tool will be the headphones. So for example, if we have a visually impaired learner working among a group of people, that learner can use the headphones to get instruction, to get information without disturbing the other learners. The last 2 images that you see here describe sticky devices and also placements that go on top of keyboards. So for example, if you have a learner who is not able to see the traditional size keyboard, we can place these keys on top that also allow for visibility and usability. And I just want to highlight the very last Braille large print white sticker labels. That would be for a learner who has very low visual ability. And finally, we have the screen magnification software. And so this is an enlargement tool that helps complement the speech function. So it allows the reader to be able to enlarge text so that it can be seen more clearly. And so I'm going to talk about total pricing in a couple of minutes, but this is just a summary of pricing for these 5 tools. So it would come up to $2,390.62. Now that we've discussed the learners, their needs, and assistive tools, I'd like to transition to the next part of our meeting. And this is where I'd like to talk to you about the Collaborative Learning Lab, as well as a detailed budget for tools and equipment. And this is going to transform the lab from a blueprint to a reality. So this is a quote that really summarizes the ideals that we're using in the planning of this training. And basically, this quote is about the universal design, which accommodates individuals with a broad range of abilities, disabilities, ages, reading levels, learning styles, native languages, cultures, and other characteristics. So the spirit that we operate in here at Ford and Excel Training and Design is that we create trainings and spaces with the ideal of inclusion. And so here's the outline of the learning space diagram. So basically, the learning space is going to be 2 rooms that includes a main learning area and an elevated learning area. And both rooms accommodate a total of 36 individuals. Here's another quote from the research, and it says that space, whether physical or virtual, can have an impact on learning. It can bring people together. It can encourage exploration, collaboration, and discussion. Or, space can carry an unspoken message of silence and disconnectedness. More and more, we see the power of built pedagogy, the ability of space to define how one teaches in colleges and universities. So this quote lines up with our ideals here at Ford and Excel Training and Design. We want to create a built pedagogy for this learning space, and I believe that we've achieved it. So let's take a look at this here is just a summary of the main level of the Collaborative Learning Lab. And so when learners come in, they can take place in lectures, multitasking activities, presentations, interactive projects, group collaboration. And also the benefits of this lab is that it is accommodating to all learning preferences, and it fosters comfort and mobility. And so here's the lab. So the first things that I want to point out is to the very top of the screen, there's a gray area that says pocket closet storage space. And so when learners come in, they can place their books, bags, purses, technical devices. This is an area to keep the equipment secure, as well as keep the floors clear so that no one will trip. And then also the learners will have ample desk space when working. If you take a look at these 3 red diagrams in the middle of the screen, this represents the iGroup origami collaboration tables, and these tables are on wheels. They also have adjustable height, and they're able to separate into triads. So as you see these black dots around the red figures, those represent the swivel chairs, which are also on wheels and with adjustable height. And so this shows you how the students can slide around in the room. They can pull out to work in pairs or work in groups of 3s, or they can come back and collaborate in a large group of 5. On the left and right hand side of the screen, there is a dark gray rectangle that says projector screen. So for example, if there is video material or lecture material that needs to be presented, students from any area of the room can look at the projector screens and not have to strain or be in discomfort. At the very bottom of the screen on the left and right hand corners, I have the dry erase bulletin motion room dividers. And so basically these are like smart boards, whiteboards on wheels that can also double as room dividers. So students, learners can collaborate in small clusters. They can work on projects, take a look at things virtually, and also have a little bit of privacy if need be. And finally, at the bottom center area of the screen, there is a tan shaded area that says Instructor Trainer Work Storage Space. So that entire space is for the instructor or the trainer. It includes a mobile lectern, computer with printer, and electrical outlets. And finally, in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, this is a computer space. It has 4 computer spaces for students, also with printers and mice. And just as a note, one projector will be mounted in the ceiling and outlets are included nearby. And the assistive technology will be able to be installed on these computers. Now I want to take a look at the elevated space. And so basically this is an area for more private collaboration. It's also used as a study area and for small group projects. And so here we've got at the top corner of the screen, the top area, 2 dry erase motion bulletin room dividers. And also there's a third one on the lower right hand side of the screen. Also in the center of the room, we have 2 Envision access tables. And so this allows for 6 students to sit comfortably. And also there's an area for audio visual display. And a television is included with that. So for example, if students or learners in a group project need to collaborate on an assignment, if they need to view something on screen, whether it be a movie or a video or some document, they're able to do that with ease and privacy. At the bottom of the screen, there are 3 blue areas that designate the study carrels. So for learners who just need to step away and review material or study or prepare for an assignment, they can go to the study carrel. And finally, at the upper right-hand corner of the screen, I've got one area that represents another set of computer stations. And so again, we have 2 computers here with mice and capability. Also, they are adaptable for the visual assistive learning technology. So now that we've taken a look at the Collaborative Learning Lab, I wanted to present a description of the equipment and hardware that is needed, and pricing is included here as well. So I'm just going to present some of the items here. Again, we've got the Zumba adjustable task chair. We've got the pricing and description for the dry erase bulletin and motion room divider. I've also got the pricing for the lectern for the instructor. This is more clear description on the iGroup origami collaboration tables. Now you can see how each leaflet of the table can be separated and drawn out. It can be reshaped or combined for student use. The projector is listed here as well. I've also got listings for our laptop and desktop computers along with the count for the wireless mice. And again, this would be for the user who may have mobile challenges. Additional hardware that includes the printer, and you have a visual of the study carrel. So this is a summary of the lab's decor and suggestions. So the purpose of this lab is to allow for a variety of learning experiences that encourage inclusion, creativity, comfort, and mobility. And so every part of this lab was considered with the learners in mind. For example, the furniture choices are centered on the warm neutral scale, and there's a heavy emphasis on the crimsons, cozy blues, and warm tans. For example, the wall color is a sweet corn that's accented with the spotlighting on the floor and elevated areas. And again, the spotlighting is needed for the inclusion of presentations, movie and video viewing. And fortunately, the wall color and spotlighting was a welcome contribution from a local area philanthropy, so that saved us a little bit of money in the budget. And finally, the entire design of the space has an ergonomic foundation, and that really supports mobility of the furniture, and it allows users and learners to work with a multitask and comfort. And so the grand total for all of these items, and also including the visual assistive technology tools, is $22,000, $498.46. This is a great investment for the learners. And so I just want to reiterate, what's the purpose of our training? Why are we even having this lab? And again, we want to enable preparedness and strategies for our instructors. And we want them to master and properly execute the instructional and administrative procedures. And we want to make sure that our training program fosters collaboration and networking. And this is all for the future of our students. So in summary, the Collaborative Learning Lab is going to be an asset for trainers as well as learners. So to help support that, the Ford and Excel training and design staff drafted an acceptable use policy, and its purpose is to protect the equipment and communicate clear guidelines on the handling of devices as well as digital citizenship. And so you can find the complete policy in the proposal beginning on page 25. But I wanted to just highlight what are some penalties or consequences if the lab is violated in any way. So for example, we are working with adult learners, but we still want to make sure that our guidelines are clear. Again, all of the material that we're using is quite expensive. This is an investment for our learners, and we want to protect it. We want to make sure that there is no confusion on how to navigate or use our tools successfully. And so below is a listing of the consequences for infractions. And what I want to reiterate is that the acceptable use policy is a binding agreement in which each user will sign. And so we also wanted to make clear, who do we mean in terms of users? That could be staff, learners, trainers, instructors, community stakeholders, and even guests. And basically, any person that uses the Collaborative Learning Lab should be held accountable for integrity, civility, and the proper use of the facility, as well as the devices that it encompasses. Well, this concludes the presentation, and I appreciate your time, and I'm open for your questions, comments, and suggestions. Thank you for your consideration, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.